Nigeria has had 5 national first ladies since its return to civilian role in 1999. And although the office of the First Lady is not an official role backed by the Constitution, it was created in 1987 by Mariam Babangida, the wife of the then military head of state, Ibrahim Babangida, to support her husband's efforts through strategic development projects. The concept has since been adopted across Nigeria's 36 states, making it one of the most influential offices of any administration on both the national and state levels. I'm Adeshawa Josh, and I've been speaking to Dame Abimbola Fashola about her role as the former First Lady of Lagos State at a time when Africa's largest city was undergoing tremendous transformation as a megacity.
Dame Abimbola Emanuela Fashola, thank you for speaking to News Central.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Ishwa Josh.
And thank you for bringing us into your home, your beautiful home.
Please.
I know how private you are, even though you're a people person. So I know how much of a big deal this is, especially because it's been almost 10 years since we have had you as a great First Lady. So having to do this, thank you. Thank you so much. Which is why I'm going to ask you, as a private person, what has life been like outside of the supposed limelight 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago?
Well, I'm a private person, but as well, I'm always out every day.
Tell me about it.
Just to personal functions, ceremonies, events, lunches, book events, health issues, promoting people who are doing well, the young ones, my age mate, adults as well, and societal functions too. I'm always out there. So there's no day I'm not out.
Wow.
Really, there's no day I'm not out.
So you wouldn't have come across to a lot of people as the Owambe typo.
It depends.
On what?
It depends on the Owambe. I'm not the Owambe of the Ashwebi, but I'm always there.
You look fabulous. What's the secret about that? Not being in office?
Business.
What does that entail?
Not involving yourself in things that doesn't matter to you, except you're called into it.
There's a lot of wisdom in that.
That's the only way you can exist in our society.
Describe that society for me.
It's a society where they want you to thrive, but they're always waiting to criticize you. You don't get a lot of accolades from things that you do, but they want you to thrive.
That's pretty deep.
It is.
Do you have any example of such?
I won't want to go into it. We'll not to dabble into that at all.
Okay.
There are a lot.
Not on a grand scale, maybe like a small little. Because there are parallels.
Even if it's family issues, do you understand? They're always waiting for your fall. Society is always waiting for your fall. You don't hear them praise you when you have done so many things of those. The moment you do one thing wrong, that's it.
A great philosopher once said that you have no one to criticize you because you have done nothing.
That's not really true. That's why I don't agree with such. Because most times you do good things, but who notices you? It is when you fall that you become popular.
As a private person, when you were coming into office in 2007, did you feel like you were going to get criticized and butchered, and you were coming into the limelight? Someone who spent all her life, you worked a lot, long years, almost 20 years for the British Council, earned your own money, did your own thing, raised your own children. You didn't need that, but it happened. Your better half was going to serve the country. And did that worry you that there was nothing you were going to do right, that the society wasn't going to criticize?
Well, because I already knew who I was.
Who was that? Who are you?
Anybody's opinion to be me. I am me anywhere, private and outside.
Who is Abimbola Fashola?
Abimbola is that bubbling person. Abimbola is that person who is full of life. Abimbola is there to help anyone who calls for my assistance or who needs my help. And Abimbola is somebody who loves to ensure that everyone has a smile on their face.
And that was the woman you brought into office.
That's it.
How did that work out for you?
It did, because things that does not concern me, I don't involve myself. I guess I learned that during my working years. I really would, working with an English organization, a British organization, to say, you would actually not put your other people's department is not your business. You focus on your own job and any other assignments given to you. So if you're doing extra, you're doing it because you want to do it. And sometimes you may fall into trouble doing it as well because it wasn't assigned to you. So mind your business. So while my husband was the governor, I already knew that I had to mind my business. So if you do not call me to do something, because most times what we get to do as wives of governors is to assist with programs, advocacy, awareness, being the third eye of the government, and then being the ambassador of the states. So things like that. So if anything is happening around me and I've not been told or asked to involve myself, I just look the other way.
Did you find that worked for you?
It did.
Did people criticize that?
No.
Not to your face.
I never heard it once, because the ministry has nothing to do with me. What I was involved in was anything that took place within the government house. That's my own job.
Oh,
And anyone the ministry calls me to do, like they want to have health advocacy now on polio, on cholera, on anything, they would want you to chair it because people like you and people want to hear you, people want to see you around them. So you did it. Just a bonus there.
I'm going to come back to the people like you part, because the funny thing about interviewing a public person in Nigeria, some public persons in Nigeria, is that you have to go through oral history. I dug and dug and dug in the internet. I just kept digging. I didn't find anything. So I had to resort to just talking to people in general and relying on also my experiences. When you were First Lady, I was still here in the country at that time. And when you took over then, in 2007, there had only been one First Lady in the Fourth Republic. So there wasn't a lot of anyone to, model after, so to speak. So you were going into a role where you can't say, oh, my predecessor did, or my predecessors did this, did that. It was almost a formless, shapeless office, and you had to shape it up. And you also came in at a time when Lagos was going through a tremendous socio-political reform. Between 2007 and 2015, a lot was happening in Lagos at that time. You must have thought, who asked me? Why am I doing this? Was there anyone you called to say, how am I going to do this? Because even though I would love to absolutely mind my business, there would also be things or ways I can support my husband. Did that happen? And how did you go about it?
Well, you should realize that calling was not mine. That calling was for my husband. And he went through the primaries, went through the election period, campaign period, and then the election, and then he won and was sworn into office. So all during that time, I was there supporting him with the campaign, supporting him with whatever he was doing. But immediately he won, it becomes the government business. Do you understand? So, and as the wife of an executive government, when you say executive government, it means bureaucratic government. You are not in the constitution at all. The constitution, the government does not recognize the wife of any government. We are not there. We are not paid. They are not paid. You're not giving any pay. So if you're not in good standing or point to your husband is not firm, it's not there, it's shaky, you really will not have anything to do.
That is quite a thing, because it is very deep.
It's very
And I want us to explore that a little bit. I know that we are modeled after the US presidential system of government. And also, when I was doing my research, I found out that Michelle Obama, Laura Bush, all of them constitutionally didn't get a salary.
not at all.
But these people embarked on a lot of projects. And you see, while their husbands were busy with the politics of things, the social projects fell on their lap. Where did you guys get money? Like, where did you get money to do all that? Did you ask him for some stipend, or was the revenue mobilization allocation and fiscal commission? I don't know the department that is responsible for that in Lagos, but the RMFAC, that's what they call them on the national scale. They're the ones who decide who gets what, public officials. Perhaps maybe they decided, okay, let's give them Fashola some money to run. How did you do it?
They don't. The organizations in Nigeria don't support her. They don't even want to hear First Lady in the first place.
I am shocked.
They're not in support of that, because they believe that the First Ladies are taking the monies that are meant for the society, that are meant for the citizens of the state, citizens of Nigeria. They believe that once you give them some kind of role, you start to pay them, or you give them money to run their own social activities or social side of the government, you are using government money for unconstitutional rules. So the only way that you find us in social things is, like I told you earlier on, the ministries who want to flag off programs, and they'll say, oh, we want you to be part of it. And I remember that at one point, they were having ESCO meeting in Lagos State, and I think some of the commissioners were telling my husband that, oh, we're going to ask your wife to do this for us, your wife to do it. And so he said, my wife is not part of the government, so please do not plan my wife into anything you're doing. It's some of the commissioners that told me that, you understand? But that is the way we get to be seen. And aside from you having your own project, like I worked many years with the young ones, running so many exams, Cambridge exams, A-level, IELTS exams for those who are relocating and all that. And I was running it, not just in Lagos, but running it all over Southwest and other places that is needed. So I was running so many exams that I knew what I saw amongst the youth. And I knew that by the time we got in, my passion was already for the youth to say that you need to be there for yourself. You find a 14-year-old, 15-year-old child telling you, I'm already a director in my father's business. And I say, that's wrong. You cannot be a director in your father's business at that age.
You need to be a child.
You need to be a child. You must focus. That is against the rule. That is against the corporate CAC and all that. You can't do that. That is wrong. So you need to focus on your studies first. Do the right thing. So there I got the idea that I need to counsel them. I need to make them be socially responsible, to understand what is happening, to groom them, and for them to know their own passion as while they are still young, and not follow daddy's money or mommy's money.
So was that what led to the creation of Learn? Tell us more about that.
Well, Learn is Leadership Empowerment and Resource Network. And all we did, and still doing, is to ensure that the children, aside from attaining their academic qualification or career, you need to have a passion, so that if anything happens, you can flow with your passion. And as you get the skill to run it and to do it, then you can start doing a living from it. And so we taught people barbing, events decoration, events planning, cosmetology. Some do massage, some do making soap.
Yeah, I saw some videos.
Some do making soap, I know. And so many other things like that. Things you can do, skillful things that you can do.
How did you pull the resources to support those projects? If you don't earn a salary, did you have to write proposals?
We did several.
Unbelievable.
We did several, but the moment you mentioned Fashola, oh, they have
You are
money.
minting money. Hello.
They have money. So I decided I'm not going to do that. Whatever I have, my own resources, anybody that gives me anything. And my first champion and number one champion to date is my husband.
Do you think this is a great impediment to some of the very, very good work the first ladies across this country could do?
It is. It is a very, very big impediment. And it is only those, when my husband was still governor, I had a CEO who was running the organization, the NGO, and she will go to several meetings, but in the long run, they don't give. And you then realize that those things you have proposed to them, they start to roll with somebody else.
Classic. Classic. Isn't that how it works? You just let it go. At least your idea is out there.
That's it.
As the executive director of Learn, was there any projects that you implemented at the time that you're proud of? Like,
Initially, when we started with the public schools. And so my great surprise, so many of them did not know how to make sandwiches at that time. They did not have any idea on how you could make sandwiches. We taught them how to make sardine sandwiches, corned beef sandwiches, taught them how to do pop-off, sausages, meat pie and things like cakes, and you could, to their surprise, they just said, so this is how they make sandwiches. I can't ever forget it. And to date, I go to some functions and they will come to me and say, oh, this is Fashola, you don't remember me. We don't hear anything about Len anymore. What's really happening? I said, Len is still there. We're just a bit on the quiet side and just impacting in the lives of a few people because we can't be everywhere anymore. So it's just a few people. And they will tell me, oh, we started computer program. This is where I am now. I've done my computer science and I'm working with this organization. The events decoration, sometimes you go out and you see the decorators around and all. And they'll come and meet you, oh, Mrs. Fashola, I am always happy to see you. I started this business from your end. You see some people in the university and say, oh, I'm doing this because of you. You showed me the way. That's my joy.
what about an idea? Getting together with other first ladies. I mean, there's only been 5 national first ladies since the Fourth Republic. Yeah, just
You mean?
yeah, at the top. So, the whole thing is still pretty experimental. Maybe it's not a bad time to see how when the first ladies leave office, maybe like a foundation to continue to drive the social reforms that you guys started off from office. So you pool together and hopefully those at the top, the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, perhaps can have a package so that you guys can continue some of this work that you do. You know why I'm saying that? Since you left office, the number of children of school age, according to the UN, I'll read it out for you, who are now out of school is now 10.2 million. 8.1 million of junior secondary school age are out of school. That's almost 20 million. I wonder what they're doing. And we're wondering why we have some of the social issues that we have now. What do you think the problem is? Because if for you had 8 years, for other first ladies, they had 1 year, you just do for 4 years and you leave office. What becomes of these projects? Who takes them up? And what kind of impact could you guys possibly have if you pull together and continue that work?
Well, once you're out of the office, remember, while you were in the office, nobody was supporting you. When you're out of the office, who's going to be supporting you? Do you understand? And then most of these projects are not usually government projects to say they're your personal passion. There are things you think if these children are doing this, they'll be able to support themselves and support their families. Most people go into it as well as I'm going into university, let me learn a trade. While I'm in there, I'll be doing makeup for my friends, doing their hair for them, and earning a living. So those are the reasons. And because it's not an agreement amongst the first ladies, it's very difficult. It's like Mrs. Her Excellency, the First Lady of Nigeria now. She has a project. She has a newer project. She has a project. And she's running it. But are we hearing about it? She'll go about it.
She's going to be on this My Exclusive soon. So I would love to hear more about that
She
project.
should be able to tell you that.
But you're right.
She should be able to tell you that.
Oh, by the way, you didn't answer my first question. And maybe because I piled something else on top of it, which is, was there anyone you looked up to, you tried to call when you took office in 2007?
The First Lady of Nigeria gave out an handout. She had a manual. She gave me a manual.
Let's walk it back a bit. The First Lady of Nigeria at the time?
Yes. She had a handover note. So during the time you're doing the process of taking over and all that,
That's interesting.
she gave out the handover note. I gave her the handover note to Mrs. Ambody.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. Like, what is the ritual like? Just talk me through that. Like, what is the ritual like?
Well, because by the time the governor is leaving the office, there's always like a week or months of handing over, preparing to go, like send forth and all that. So with the first ladies, you invite all those societies that you have worked with throughout the tenure of your husband. So you have the Medical Association, Women Association, you have the NGOs, you have the private organization, you have a women organization and all that. So they come in, you schedule maybe twice a week or 3 times a week. They come in, you tell them this is what you have done with them, and you're leaving, the next person is coming. The next person, the wife of the next person is actually seated with you all throughout that handing over. And then there's a manual to say, with Ministry of Health, we do advocacy, we do awareness. They will call you, they will invite you. So if you're interested, you're free to go. With organizations, medical organizations, wives of police officers, army officers, Air Force, and all. We just formed some kind of synergy, and we all collaborate. So when you're leaving, you just hand it over to the other person, written.
Is that because you want continuity of some of the projects that you've done?
It's got nothing to do with my project. My project, I'm not giving it to the state. My project is my project. So it's still mine, and that's why I'm still running it till tomorrow.
Was there any of your projects that you wish could become policy?
Yes, and that's this passion thing. Learn the skill part of it, the skill acquisition part of it, vocational skills.
Did you try to influence politically your husband at the time to see if that project could become policy? Did it?
I didn't even discuss it with my husband. I'm doing my thing, he's doing his thing.
Well, how then would you didn't leverage him at all? How?
At all.
Why not?
At all, because I just felt that the moment you give it to the ministry.
I like it. That hand. The way that hand went.
I don't take it to.
The hand just went.
You don't feel it anymore. And I am someone who sees things through. I want to ensure that it gets to the person who is going to do it. I don't want people coming in to say, we did this, and you don't see the outcome. We teach them bid making. And I remember at a particular time, the Ministry of Education felt that they were giving me money from the education department. That's to date, I don't know what happened in between. Maybe somebody was collecting money, I do not know.
Wow.
But I heard later on to say that they were giving me a particular amount, and I said, even if you gave me that, if you gave me half of it, I know what I would have done with it. But nobody gave me any money. Aside from when I did my 45th birthday, and the president of Nigeria now His Excellency Shivaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Heard about all that I have done. You know, they showed my programs and all. And he turned to me and said, "Ooh, did anyone support me at all?" And I said, "No." And only at that time did he tell the chairman of all the local governments, because I worked in every local government, that they should give me money. And that was the only time that money went into my account.
That is contrary to public opinion. You know, we see first ladies and we see you guys minting money. Money.
I'll tell you the funny part of it. I have a young friend who usually sees me and says, "Oh, she wants to come and work for me. She wants to work with me and all that. She's going to go to the designers and get clothes for me." And I was saying, "You are getting it twisted.
You shall be broke.
It doesn't work that way. Nobody gives anybody anything. We buy it. Wow. We buy our things ourselves."
Oh, would you say I buy my things myself?
We.
Speaking for all the first
The
ladies.
president does not give us any money. We're not in the constitution. Once somebody does not recognize you in the constitution, why would they give you money?
Would you like to be in the constitution?
I'm not so sure.
No, you're
I
backing it.
don't want to turn up in the office of the EFCC.
That is incredulous. Oh my God. Wow. So being a first lady is a thankless job. I am inspired to be one already.
That's it.
I don't know. I have to adjust my...
That's it. That's it. You love to work, you have to adjust. You know, the work you're doing now is your passion and things that you like to do. So it's your thankless job. It's something that you are enjoying to do.
Let's go back to the kids that are out of school. You're a staunch advocate of, you know, children's education, women's empowerment. And it must burden you to see that in spite of all the work you've done, that your contemporaries, other first ladies have done, we're battling status quo. Why do you think that is? And how can we fix it?
To fix it really well, we should think about birth control. Think about birth control, because we find out that most people who give birth to a lot of children hardly can afford it.
This is a very controversial thing you're saying.
Hardly can afford it, because looking at where we are today, for example, if you have a child, or if you have like 3 children now, to put them in that school, you would love them to go. It's a difficult task. So if you have 5 children, what's going to happen?
16.
So that's the truth. First, we have to look at affordability. What can we afford? And like I tell people these days now, take the children to the school around your area. Get a good teacher. They will meet in the university. University is usually the leveler for anyone. Go to Karna, go to Graceland, go to Grange, get to the university and you're going to solve. And that child will become whatever God says that child will be. So we don't need to kill ourselves by putting our children in expensive schools. We must learn that. We must be able to be comfortable to say, this is what I can afford. And this is where my child will go. And my child will make it.
So first things first, decide how many children you can afford. What do you want to say to Yoruba people who say, "Into mama aje, ọ̀run ló ti mú wá"?
No. Not in those days. In those days, not today. So we need to re-strategize. We need to think about our younger ones to ensure that they have education. Because without education, we'll still be rigmaroling in this country.
Wow. Do you know this is an unusual, very controversial conversation we're having because no one wants to talk about it. They all want to talk about let's build more schools. Let's tell them, let's go back to the basics. Why are you having kids that you cannot raise, you cannot feed, then you put them on the road to come and feed you actually? And like you said, back in the day that used to work, but now it's a bit difficult.
The saying everyone else those who help themselves is absolutely true. And we need it now.
So Nigeria is also grappling with substance abuse among young people, and it's become such a huge societal problematic issue for a lot of parents. It's not just happening with the lower class families, the middle class families too. Where do we go from here? What's gone wrong with our society, and how do we deal with it?
That's a big question.
It is.
One, I think, in Nigeria, we look at other countries and whatever is happening there, we like to champion. We like to be the champion. But on the other hand, I think it's more of peer pressure. It's peer pressure. Because most times you'll discover that I know I've worked with parents as well, and we have spoken about this. But the parents from the less privileged class actually do not pay attention to their children as much as we used to think. Do not pay attention to their children in the sense that early in the morning they're out of the house. They don't know if their child ever went to school. They don't know if the child attended any classes. By the time the children are back from school, they are not yet back from their business places. Market women, to say the least, and all that. So we used to think, I used to think that they were there with the children most of the time. Or like also do 9 to 5 or 8 to 5.
You would think, yeah?
I used to think like that. Only for me to discover that they're hardly at home. They are just doing one business or the other to survive. I don't blame them, but they need to put responsible people in charge of those children as well. Because why I'm saying this is that I've met so many young ones who will tell you, when you say, oh, you shouldn't do this, your mom is doing this so that you can survive, your dad is there looking for money for you to go to school, to feed and all that. So help them. Do your own bit, which is read your book, do the right thing, go back home, explain things to them, talk to them, and all that. They'll say, oh, please talk to our parents. Because if we get home, I will tell them, they don't listen. So anytime I have a parental program, I talk to the parents as well and say, this is what your children are saying. You don't want to do all this trouble. You don't want to go up through all this trouble. And in the long run, you don't benefit anything. You see your children and you weep every day. So what is in gain? Somebody has to sacrifice to be at home with the children. No matter how late, talk to them. Be there for them. Let them be able to know that, oh, my mom will be at home. Oh, if she's not at home, this is where she is. She'll soon be back. But for them not to see you 7 days a week, that's not right. That's absolutely not right. It should be there. I know about this tramadol and all because when we used to be at Surulere, the government college in Surulere and the schools in the environs, you find the children fighting. And sometimes I want to get out of my vehicle to say, stop fighting and talk to them, just cancel them and move on. And there was this particular day, my staff, they would say, don't get down, no. These ones have taken something, don't join them. And then they take champs to school as well. Huh. They take champs. The particular one I even approached, he was hired from Ikorodu to come and fight in Surulere. Some they brought from Shita to come and fight at Erikmo. I don't know if you know the geographical area there.
I can't relate. And that's why my face is like, what?
So I don't understand. And I reported at that time because I went to the district office. And we had a seminar. I've had about 4 seminars or so with NDLA, DSS, the police officers, and parents to say that we need to do more with these children. We have driven them out of the house. We need to bring them back home. They can't continue like this. In the long run, we won't have any society any normal child to hand over the government.
And just to summarize what you just said, the fundamental unit of every society is family. And that's where we're getting it wrong. I want that to sink in just a little bit.
It's a family. If the mother is busy, the father should be there. We started off with my husband being the governor, and then I am only just supported, which means I sit at home. If I have to go to functions, I go to functions, and when I come back, whatever time it is, I still have to speak to my children. Let me know what happened in their lives.
That's brilliant.
Have you done your homework? What happened? No matter how bad it is, I usually tell my children, let me know. I am the parent here. I will defend.
Wow. Let's speak about, are you a politician?
No, I'm not.
Are you a card-carrying member of the APC?
I am.
So are you a politician?
No.
What's the difference?
Those in government are politicians. This is for subject politicians. Because I don't sit with them in any meeting. I don't take any decision. So why would I say I'm a politician? I don't attend their political meetings.
Has anyone ever leveraged your likability for political means?
Some people, I told them I don't have a flair. Because with politics, I don't think they like the truth.
So how do you manage your husband? Do you think your husband is a politician? Because he could be a technocrat and not be a politician, which happened in his first term, by the way. We'll get there.
It happened all throughout his term. It happened all throughout his term.
So when those challenges of his technocratic side was stronger than his political side, what role did you play at that time? Because there was a lot of challenges. I'll get to some of those things, but go on.
Well, you would always have challenges wherever you work. So being a governor was his office, and he had to oversee the state's issues and all that, and ensure that the state was moving fine, and he had to be the example for good governance. So when challenges come, to say the truth, I didn't hear about any challenges from my husband. I heard it from third party, and a respected third party. So when he tells me, I ask my husband, is there anything wrong? And he says, don't worry. If I cannot stand it anymore, I'll let you know. But the only thing I usually tell him is, know that if you cannot stand it anymore, let's go back home. We don't have to be there.
Was there any point you were ready to just take everybody back home?
Yes.
What point was that?
True face of leaders.
Can you talk a little bit about that? I know you're not allowed to spill the whole beans, but just a little bit.
Yeah. The true face of Lagos, when they started saying all sorts of things, and that, well, the cap of it all was that my husband was a thief. And he was a liar. That is damaging. We have children. And that made me think, let's go back home. When my son went out with his friend, his mom wasn't around, and he went to his friend's uncle's house to pick him. They were meant to go out. And on getting there, the uncle told my son's friend that you're a friend to the man they are calling a thief. And when all this was going on, I told my son, I said, don't ever defend your dad. Don't defend your mom. Before we got into office, that you should never defend any one of us. Anyone who says things that are very offensive to you, just tell them, I can give you their numbers. You can talk to them. But don't ever go into any fight or make any noise with anyone because of your parents. So when he got there and his friend said, my uncle said this and that, and I told my mom called him and said, why would you call the man a thief? What has he stolen from you? What did he get from you that he didn't return or whatever and things like that? So the man was asking, is that not what they are saying and all that? But his friend, to tell you that the friend knows us better than the uncle, told my son. So when he came home and he told me, and I said, what did he do? Said, he told the friend to have his father's number, that he should call him if he has any problem that his father. Let his father defend himself, but he would not say anything about it. So for a child under 20 to go through that, just because you came to serve the state, that was enough. Let's go back home.
What changed your mind that made you stay?
People came because people realized who I was. Some commissioners were saying, go and beg the wife, because the wife is going to tell him, let's go back home. Enough is enough. You can't tarnish one's image because one is trying to get it right, experimented. He went into it saying, Abimbola, they have not told me to come and steal. They have not told me to go. They told me to come and govern my states. I am a Lagosian. Because initially when he told me, some people came, the elders of the society came to him and said, the now president wants him to run for office and all. I was not at home, it was summertime. We went. Then I said, when we came back, and I said, we'll pray about it, whatever God says. But you know that we are not the seed. Our values, our morals, with this thing you're going into, will clash. So I was so surprised.
There was more. More came after. It was after True Face. It was before, but then after.
It was after his office, another incident.
No, it was while he was in office, talking about. So when that didn't work, obviously, you heard of all the rumors about him having children outside of wedlock.
And the funny thing was, some of my elderly mamas that I call them moms, that said, Abimbola, má worry nípa gbogbo nǹkan tó ń sọ, a ti defend ẹ̀. Ọmọ mọ̀ ẹ́, ó máa máa wọ ọmọ yẹn wọlé ní kọ́kọ́ wọn wá. Àwọn ọmọ tó bí kẹ́kọ̀ọ́. Saying that they know me very well, that I would ask anyone who has a child for my husband to bring them in. But they were just trying to, it's the formation of character. It's the formation of character.
What was the first thing that went through your mind, even before you started research?
I didn't even think about it.
Did you bring it up?
For the polygamous, I didn't think about it at all. I did not think about it because my father had several wives. I have younger ones, I have older ones.
So did you think if it was true, you would have okay, let's just bring it in?
Because they thought I was going to leave my husband.
Which is the point I was trying to get to.
They thought I was going to leave my husband. But I won't do such. And I know he didn't do it. Because most people will think we don't talk. But I'm not saying he's a perfect man or whatever. He tells me. He carries me along.
And, so there was rumor that the whole thing was coming from a well-known well, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I can guess.
Not on camera, would it be?
You took camera now.
I was hoping.
No. We can see. Yeah. And I don't want to use the new English, allegedly.
Allegedly. When that one then went down a little bit was also when the trouble with the boss happened. Was it before or after? The part where there were rumors that your husband was having issues with the former governor of Lagos State, now president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that the fight was so far, that was after his first term, that there was word on the street that he was never going to come back and that it was so bad, the political tension was high. Was he actually having those issues with him? And what was that like?
Like I said earlier, my husband does not discuss political things that way. I don't get to know through my husband.
Good to hear from a source.
I have a source.
I like that. Where I have sources.
I have a source, respectable source.
Good. It's good to have those things.
Me to say, and I think it's like a spiritual guide for you to know what you're praying about. That's the way I see it. And it keeps me thinking to say, Lord, if this is not where we should be at this time, pull us out. That's it. I don't have two prayers. It's just one. If it is your will, God does not give you something and then put so.
Indeed.
That's it. If it's time to go, so be it.
Then came the ministerial screening, where he was put on the spot. I mean, like a true lawyer that he is, he wiggled out of it in the most brilliant way and kept all of those people in confusion. But the sentence, "May our loyalty never be tested," I think that particular sentence should have gone into the Oxford Dictionary. Because everybody at the bar having pepper soup, when anything comes, I'll be like, "May your loyalty never be tested." What did you think he was talking about then?
There were so many things going on. There were so many things going on. The then governor was at a point I can't understand. I don't know where it was coming from. I really do not know where the issues were coming from. But things that I know that cannot be spoken openly, I knew the angle it was coming from. Because at a stage, my husband had to say, "Call the EFCC on me. If you have anything on me, I will defend myself." But it's still part of that defamation of character. It's still part of it.
And how did you hold it all together in those moments?
Because there's no truth in it. So I didn't even think about it at all. I didn't think about it at all. It didn't disturb me. Once it's okay, that's it. We are okay.
Mr. Abdulaziz Olajide Adediro, does that name ring a bell? John Doe.
John Doe. I don't know his full name, so I usually call him John.
Everyone knows him as John Doe. If he's watching this, be like, that girl called my full name. No, well, in fairness, I had to read it out. He used to be with the APC. Started the Lagos movement, is that what it is called? And then, young guy, people like him, and then left for the PDP. At the beginning of this segment, I asked, are you a politician? Okay. Okay, and then suddenly went to the PDP. In 2019, he launched his foundation. And technically, that's where I'm going to. And technically, you're APC, he's PDP.
He was still in APC there.
Was he in APC then?
He was still in
APC. Was shortly out. Okay, so you launched that thing for him while he was still in APC.
He was my aburo.
So it didn't matter that...
he was my aburo. It was from the foundation. When I went there and I got there. Actually, that day, I wasn't feeling too good. Prior to that day, he had his foundation of me. And I got there and I saw all the Yobas from the Awori side, the east side of Lagos. I asked him, I said, Jando, is it just foundation you are launching or there's something else? And then you need to tell me where you got this money from. Because I have been in this NGO business for how many years now? I've not seen this kind of support though. You see what you have brought in the Nollywood people and everybody. I was shocked. All I was saying, Jando, tell me where you got money from. Tell me where you got money from. After that, he had his birthday party at Federal Palace, the Balmora. Same thing again. So many people were there. I said, I'm confused. What really is happening with you? Now let me know. Say, Shama Shadu Afu, be praying for me. Nothing will happen to me. I said, Jando, I'm warning you. Jando, what are you getting yourself involved in? And some of the younger ones that I know as well were telling me, he's going into politics, he's doing this. Who advised you? Which politics are you going? I'm going to be the next governor. Stop fooling yourself. Stop fooling. That was what I was saying. I was just laughing and just my usual self. So when everything turned out the way it did, I said, no wonder. Foundation, birthday, and all that. Okay, that's it.
Did he come to you after he declared he was running on the platform of PDP and for the governor of the state?
No, I don't think so. Not at all.
Did you feel used in any way?
No.
You would have done it even if he was in PDP at the time?
I would.
What does that say about values and politics?
Politics has new value. I've heard them say severally, no permanent friend, no permanent enemy.
That's pretty interesting.
That's what they say. And that's why I'm not a politician. You can't have permanent enemy, but you should know who your friends are. And you should not become a chameleon with your character. Because values has got to do with your character, your attitude, in and out.
Where I would like to wrap this conversation on is how the two of you just got along, regardless of what was happening outside. Plus, the obvious difference, which is the religious part of it.
Oh, my husband and myself.
Yeah, I have seen it, over and over again. If the few times that you're granted an interview, you would always say, oh no, we have our altars. Everyone does their own thing. One of the things that, parents don't necessarily advise it, but you have pastors, you have people you respect in your church, they would advise you spiritually is not a good thing to do. For some reason, yours work. And I know that everyone's calling is different. So we won't say because Dame Fashola did it, it can work for me too. What made yours work?
Well, you should know that I'm from the Catholic background. So I don't have personal pastors. I'm not a Pentecostal.
Personal pastors? This always stay with me. Okay.
Let's go for my mass.
I like that. Personal pastor, yeah.
Do my mass. Go back home. And when I met my husband took me to church. He always take me to church and all, and I have to attend mass and everything. And he knows that when I'm down, he gives me my rosary. Do you understand? He gives me my rosary when I'm down. He knows that I like my Mother Mary. You understand? So my husband is not fussy about religion. Religion does not make you. Religion just gives you the right path and gives you the values and morals that you should stick by. I'm serving God. I'm not serving man. And I cannot put my trust in man. So I follow Christ, and I want to be Christ-like, or not man. People will say, why didn't you pray that your husband should change to become a Christian? Tell me what most Christians are doing. Is he in that world? Is he human or not? Does he fear God or not? Does he respect God? Does he believe in God? And that's it for me. And so, religion has nothing to do in my family.
It's faith.
It's faith.
That's interesting. So, rumor has it that you love to dance. I know, that's why rumor has it. And when they were, when the rumor... Yeah. Do you recognize that voice?
Is it Big B?
Big B.
Big B.
Your favorite guy.
Big.
So I was wondering how we can... I wanted that. They said it's one of your favorite tracks, and I had to go and look for it. I was hoping that maybe... Because I also love to dance. So I was thinking we could have a little party going on in here.
Okay, now let's go. Who's going to dance it better now? Yeah? Yeah?
Hey, how did you meet Baby? Oh, my friends are married. Some girl was a spiritual ones, like anything spiritual.
Yeah.
So that's my praise person. Baby and Pastor Tosin.
Oh, really?
Get me all those.
You know, I used to go for Big B's concert back in Ibadan. Yes, I used to do.
Oh, we're having a party in here. Hey. I can't believe I'm making mommy dance on camera.
I do. When it comes to praise, I think people think about it. When is that settled down?
They don't have time for that.
Who was he?
We're praying. Oh, but I do know that you're a big fan of whiskey also. Is it true? I said, yeah.
The back
Leave my camera. Do you have any word for people this Christmas, this festive period?
that to just believe in God, our baby Jesus. Let's just give him the opportunity to mend our lives, give everything up to God. All will be well for 2025.
Dame Abimbola Fashola, thank you so much for speaking to News Central. I've had a great time. Thank you so much.
Good to see you. Thank you very much.